And that weren't happening. But it's another defeat for Burnley. I don't know where Jared's gone, by the way. He's just, I don't know what's happened.
Sick of it,
he must be. Hopefully he's all right. I'll just put some comments out there. But just before we get started with the match reaction that we do, just remember, if you do want to have your say and you want to be involved in the TurfCast Podcast fan reaction, then we are always looking for new people on the fan reaction. So all I want you to do, if you want to get involved in the fan reaction, is film yourself for 2 to 3 minutes, basically giving your thoughts on the game. Film yourself chatting to the camera, just giving your thoughts on the game and that sort of thing. And then it will be in the fan reaction show, which we put on YouTube, and the podcast as well. If we get a lot, it might be an edited version of the podcast, but we haven't had that many recently, so it probably will be in the podcast. But match reaction then, boys. I'll just have a quick look at see what some of the comments are saying. Thomas Grant says it is going on about Vidra and JA, saying they should be given 2 to 3 games at least. Jade says shit. Ryan Collins says shite. Ian Miller says in the shit. So 3 different variations of sort of like the same word and one incorporated to a sentence there, which is always good to see. Dan Taylor going on about the Vidra thing again. He says Vidra's done a lot to create chances there that none of our other players can do. I agree with that, especially that last one where he did a 1-2 with was it Loughton Westy? I don't know, and then got into the box and things like that. So yeah, that just wouldn't have happened with either Wood or Barnes. James Briley says very poor. Laura Battani says get me on the watch along. I'll bring in the views. I think we bring in the views, don't we? No. In fact, we'll get Johnny Tate back, Laura. He brings in the views, don't you? John Corbett says, what a bag of wank. I will say it now. Dice will not be in charge next season. Controversial. And Joe Clark, last one before we get on with the match reaction, says, we've had an aging strike force for a decent while now and haven't looked to change it. In fact, we can't score a goal that isn't a header is not a surprise. In fact, one more thing I will just point out, because I totally agree with that's on the screen now. McNeil has to start from now on. Yeah, 100%. Like the difference in that side when McNeil was on the pitch compared to when he wasn't. I don't know why he didn't start. I think Simon said earlier that he thinks he's coming back from an injury, and that might be the case. Yeah, but I'm not sure. For me, yeah, 100% McNeil has to start. But right, let's do the TurfCast Podcast match reaction then. Jared's gone again. He obviously don't want to be involved. It's a good job. I'm going to come to you first anyway, Simon. So, Simon, what were your thoughts on that match? And please do keep the comments coming in the chat, because I will still reference them when I get a chance.
It's frustrating there because probably people won't agree with me. I'm just going to mute my thing so I don't get to distract myself. But I don't think we played that bad. I think we've been really unlucky in that game because it's a shit goal to concede. Ben Mee usually mops them up. If Ben Mee didn't get his head onto that talk, he easily clears it. It's just an unlucky thing. And other than that goal, that the reason they got attacking options after that is because of how hard we had to push the game. You know what I mean? I would have loved, obviously I'd have loved them not to score that one, but I'd have loved to see the difference in game if it was half-time at half-time, it was 0-0. But yeah, I'm not happy, but I do genuinely think we were slightly unlucky there. I don't know about you.
No, I don't disagree with you. We did play well. We played better, but I think West Ham let us have the ball, but the main problem was we still didn't do anything with it. Like we played better in terms of what we did with the ball when we had possession and how comfortable we looked on the ball and how we looked to try and play going forward, especially in the middle of the park. But up front again, and it's not just Chris Wood's fault, which everyone thinks it is. Up front again, it just wasn't there. Like Jay came on, did nothing. Vidra came on, did nothing. Barnes did nothing again. It's all of them. Like we just don't have the depth and the options there to be able to do something. And I've seen a comment in the chat saying bring back Sam Vokes. And if you genuinely if you're being serious with that, then come off it, mate. There's no chance that Sam Vokes will be the answer to our problems. Not one chance whatsoever. No chance whatsoever. But just have a look at the other comments again. If Jared wants to come back, if he's watching this, we'll get your view on it as well. Dan Taylor says we felt like the better team. Johnny Tate says we should try and play McNeil in a free role, less tracking, more attacking. Actually, that's a good saying. Less tracking, more attacking. I like that one. Joshua Shapcott says he needs to start Vidra and J-Rod. I I don't disagree with that, mate. I just think that even Vidra and Jay got a large chunk of that game then, and even they did nothing. It's worrying for me now that all four of our options are not doing anything. It's just one of them. Bring back Defoe, says Laura. I think she's taking piss. I don't know. Kieran Phillips is finally giving his match reaction. He's probably saving the best bits for the fan reaction, but he just says fucking rubbish.
Do we get another dressing gown one this week, Kieran?
Yeah, I did enjoy the fact that you're in your dressing gown, mate. Martin Bomber says we're missing Charlie Taylor. I do agree with that, but we weren't great when he was. We weren't creating much of scoring goals when he was in the team. But yeah, I do agree with that.
We didn't have to man at match, by the way.
Yeah, well, we got beat, didn't we? I don't do it when we get beat. If you can quickly choose one if you want. Brownhill for me.
Brownhill for you. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Fucking hell. Let's see what comments say. Well, that's them as well.
You can give it Dwight McNeil as well. I know he only played. In fact, it's probably a better. I'm gonna be slightly contro. It's not controversial in the slightest because he played well, but I'm going to give it Dwight McNeil. But it's controversial in the fact that he only played 45 minutes. But the difference that he made when he came on was just staggering. The fact that Sean Dyche has chosen to go on the bench is ridiculous. What's yours?
I'll give you that. I don't disagree with it, so we'll put it up. Can I put it up?
I'll do it.
I've just done it for you then.
I pressed it at the same time.
No, I mean, I've just uploaded it. It worked already on the thing. I was going
to say, because I was going to say to you, like, I have no idea if it's even in there or not because I was looking earlier. And have you put that screenshot up as well? Is that something you want to bring in?
I was just going to show you. I'll just screenshot the league table for you because obviously now we're only 4 points off the relegation.
Right, well, let's have a look at that then. Yeah, that is the league table then now. I will obviously... In fact, I don't need to get rid of what's at bottom. You know Sheffield United at bottom. You know they're going to finish bottom. So underneath the ticker is Sheffield United. That's all I need to tell you. But yeah, worrying. Fulham are winning games and they're scoring goals. West Brom are winning games now and they scored 3 today. We've got to play Fulham yet. All right, we might have a game in hand, but that game in hand is against Fulham. We don't have a game in hand on Fulham, actually. They've played 16. Admittedly, they've got to play this weekend. They haven't played in this weekend yet. But they haven't lost for a long time. They've drawn all of their last 5 games, including a draw against Tottenham. And now they're playing Chelsea. Is it tomorrow or later tonight? I think it's the next game, actually.
It's the next game, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So they could easily be on our heels because I don't think it's that ridiculous that they win that match with form that they're in.
No, it's not. No, I thought it was an interesting sort of look because we've only been sort of seeing the positives of his results lately, and now obviously we've been dragged back in. So it is worrying. It isn't.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. We're not scoring goals.
I'm worried now. We can't score goals. There's been a couple of defensive errors in the last few games that, like you say, Ben Mee normally gets to that header today. I think I've been a bit harsh saying Ben Mee should have got the header. It's clearly too high for him, but maybe his positioning should have been better. Brady should have followed him in. And again, Tarky might be being a bit harsh on Tarky by saying, you know, he probably should have done better, but it's come off Ben Mee's head, hasn't it? So he's so yeah, I'm just a bit worried now. The goals aren't going in, and then we're conceding goals like that now. We wouldn't have conceded that goal last season. That would have finished 0-0.
It had 0-0 written all over it before the game. A simple mistake led it to be, 1-0, and then it's a different type of game. Granted, they could have scored a couple more goals, but they still look more threatening than we did going up front. They still had more chances where, if I was a West Ham fan, I'd be thinking it should have been 3-0. I really would.
Well, obviously, the post, isn't there? And then there's a Rice free kick, and there's a couple where, the player should have probably passed it.
Yeah.
So, they could have easily won 3-4-0, to be fair.
I was just reading comments there. If I weren't going to pick Dwight to go with you, I would have probably picked Brady as our man of the match. I think he didn't do anything wrong. Apart from the goal where people criticising he could have got in front, I'm not 100% on that, but I do think he played really well, to be fair to Brady, and then that he made the right decision to Dyche and taking Gudmundsson off out of the pair. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. Don't look like Jared's coming back, so I think that's it for the match reaction.
Well, on that note, then, why are you saying about that? Then what about the subs? Because we all got the subs we asked for. Do we think they actually made a massive change?
Yeah, I think we've already covered it, haven't we? Like all 4 of them for me now aren't clearly in form. I'm going to say not good enough then, but I'm not going to say that. I do think Jay's a good striker. I still think Chris Wood He's a good striker. He's just getting worse and worse in terms of form as time goes on. Vidra, I always thought were good to bring off the bench, but he's offered nothing today, really. He played well, but again, like, we're just not creating. But I'll go back to a comment that someone put out, which I've lost now. James Smith, he says, the problem is our midfield, not our strikers, just huge gaps and hoofing it. And we have said, I don't necessarily think the midfield itself is an issue. I think Westy and Brownhill do work, but I think maybe we've tried changing it up front. It hasn't worked. So maybe now it's time to try changing it in the middle. And maybe we do have to make a bit of a controversial decision and drop Brownhill and put Corky in there now that Corky's back, or drop Westy and put Corky in there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't disagree with that. I like Brownhill. I'm not saying I don't want him to play. I like Gudmundsson, but sometimes you just need to say it is a midfield, because the strikers actually held the ball up probably 9 times out of 10 today. They all held the ball up and they laid it off, but the gap is so big. How many times did we see Lawton in an attacking position today? Because he's just running past the midfield. He's bypassing the midfield. Never mind the ball. So a lot
of people are saying things in the chat lounge like trust Dash and all that sort of thing. I don't not trust Dash, but I'm just worried, and I do think he's making some wrong decisions now. You've got some people think that you can't criticise him, and for me, I think he's gone on too long with Wooden Barnes up front for me. I think he's making a wrong choice there. And I think he's made a wrong choice not starting Dwight today. So I do trust him. I'm not saying I don't trust him, but yes, I do still think he's the best man for the job. I'm not even suggesting that in the slightest. But as I said earlier in the show, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It needs to change up front. And a lot of people have been saying in the comments, sort of like start Jay and Vids, and we've obviously had the debate saying, no, they've had 30 minutes, still done nothing. But I still think, for me, start something different up front, whether it's a different variation and either Wood or Barnes is in there or whatever.
I'd say Wood and Jay.
We need to do something. We need to do something. Well, I'd be happy with Wood and Jay, because I do think Wood works best with Jay. I said that time and time again on the watchalongs and on the podcasts. Something needs to change up front, and that's why he deserves criticism today, because he's chosen that front two knowing that they don't score goals. And shock horror, we haven't scored a goal again.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that, mate. It's an hard one. It really is. It works. Them two do work up top in certain parts of the season. We've seen it, but for some reason it's not working at the minute. And is it the midfield? We don't know, but I do think J-Rod needs to play. Yeah,
I'd agree. Maybe J-Rod, maybe get Cork in. I'm not overly buzzing about putting Cork back in, but maybe he is that link. Maybe that's why that system isn't there. There's been someone in the chat saying signing suggestions, lads, and stuff like that. We'll leave that for the podcast this week, mate. So if you haven't already, please check out the podcast. It comes out every Thursday morning, available on all your good podcast apps. Unless there's anything you want to say, Simon, I don't think Jared's going to come back. So we'll start wrapping it up unless there's anything you want to say, mate.
No, I'm all good. Thanks for hosting again. Did a good job, pal.
Cheers, mate. And just before I do go, I'll just quickly put that back on the screen. If you want to have your say, please feel free to do so. Just film yourself chatting about the game, giving your fan reaction. That's why it's called the fan reaction, about this game. Send it to us. You can send it to us. If you have my number, if you know me personally, I know a few people in here do. You can send it me on WhatsApp. I'll just download it and put it straight on my phone. If not, send it to turfcastpodcast@gmail.com. Or failing that, if you're having some issues with file size and stuff like some people do, because some people don't have Google and things like that, then you can just send it us on Twitter. Ideally, don't send it us on Twitter, but Robert Benson and Stuart Rhodes, they do it on Twitter, and I've managed to download theirs every single time. So feel free to send us on Twitter as well. But thank you for watching. It's a shame that the lads got beat again, but we will be back for a fan reaction in the next couple of days. And the match reaction will be uploaded onto YouTube as well within the next hour or so. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next game.